Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, dear, to Kardec Radio once again, where we are always nourishing our souls. I am Correa, and we are delighted to be here every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to study the laws that govern the universe. As we study the laws that govern the universe, we become better equipped as immortals to make wiser choices and thus to invest in our immortal sense of well-being. Once we learn to invest in our immortal sense of well-being, beloved friends, our well-being ceases to be dependent on a particular circumstance or person. It then becomes an inner, like developing muscles for the soul. This is the reason why the mentors of Kardec Radio have allowed for us to open the Kardec Radio platforms for the studies of the divine laws together. Let us rest assured that as we connect mind to mind, heart to heart in both realms, the spirit mentors are counting on our charitable in order to be of good use, to be of service to those who are in greater need than we are. At the same time, the mentors are also visiting our homes and kindly, lovingly treating each and every one of us in our innermost needs. So, what a blessing! Tonight, dear friends, as we exchange wisdom and gratitude to God together, we shall study question 891 that Kardec asks the illuminated minds and presents their responses to us in the Spirit's book. Let us now then go directly to the source, as we hope everyone connected to us either now or on demand on high. So question 891 is as follows. Kardec asks, if maternal love is natural, why are there mothers who hate their children often from birth? Very pointed and, so to speak, hot, controversial question, directly onto the answer from the illuminated spirits. The illuminated spirits respond to Kardec and all of us as follows. It is sometimes a trial chosen by the spirit of the child, or an expiation, if in a previous existence the spirit was a bad father, a bad mother, or a bad child. In all such cases, mother can only be the incarnation by a lesser spirit who creates hindrances for the child to fail the chosen trial. But such a violation of the laws of nature will not go unpunished, and the spirit of the child shall be rewarded for surmounting such obstacles. We appreciate the illuminated minds working with Kardec under the guidance of Mentor Jesus, educating Master Jesus, educating all of us. We appreciate the effort because they do not sugarcoat reality. They present reality as is. Those of us used to a more materialistic point of view, the Disneyland or Hollywood approach to life, where there is always a quote unquote happy ending. Though we appreciate the efforts of those who create entertainment and express their creativity in such beautiful ways, we know through the Spiritist science that life is not a fairy tale. How so of expiation and trials, and as such, we are not here to be on a vacation. We are here to undergo tests and develop new virtues as well as new responses to previously challenging situations, creating new spiritual conditionings for ourselves. So, for us, how are we approaching this life? Are we approaching life thinking of the boxes we should check? Retirement check, children check, house check, good schools check, backyard check, two cars check, or are we approaching the majority in ways that the majority of people shall not for the moment even understand? Are we approaching life conscious that we are immortal spirits and conscious of our reincarnatory objectives, knowing that the challenges we face are not punishments, but rather stepping stones for us to reach for immortality? Only such an approach, a vision, a paradigm of life on earth shall help us understand why a particular mother may have an aversion to their own child. In the Gospel, according to Spiritism, we learn that there are two types of families on the earth. By bloodly ties or genetic ties, and the other formed by eternal affinities, the spiritual family. Most often, because we are in a school, we reincarnate amongst those whom we have debts with. God, in His, her, its mercy for such ties to form in the physical realm where we are incarnated, so that we learn to replace aversion by love, little by little. The closer we are to each other biologically, the greater is the possibility for previous aversions to be signified into love. Is it easy? No. But God allows for the biological ties to form so that both ourselves and the spirits connected to us have another chance to learn to love each other. It's a beautiful divine proposal. Does it always work? No. Sometimes it takes all of us a while to learn. and sometimes we need to repeat the lesson. We see such a circumstance being reported to us by Amália Domingos Soler, a medium that incarnated or reincarnated in Spain in the 19th century and who studied case how the law of action and reaction influences the present, how our previous choices influence our current reality. These findings from Amália Domingos Soler were published in the book 15 Cases of Past Lives. Our dear Dr. Vanessa Anceloni has already studied right here on Kardec Radio. We shall post the link of the playlist right here in the comments after our studies. Our study tonight is finalized for everyone's reference. So tonight, we would like to refer to a particular case from the book 15 Cases of Past Lives. There is a case in which Amália Domingos Soler put the spirit mentors the following family dynamics. She describes that a mother from a high socioeconomic class had a beloved son, and her beloved son was infatuated by a young lady his age who was not of the same social status, allowed for them to date each other. However, the mother put one condition upon it. The mother said, when you come to the age of getting married, I, the mother, will choose your bride and you will have no say on it. So the time came when it was time for the young man to marry Bruce, and the mother then said, dear son, your relationship with the young woman you love is over. It is now time for you to get married to the chosen one that I selected for you, an arranged marriage. The son resignated himself, got married. The young lady whom he loved also resignated herself, moved far apart from each other. He got married, she went about her life, and they exchanged letters throughout many years. And the young lady said to the young man, we forgive your mother. She has your best interest at heart, and we are connected by the heart anyhow. So many years later, when the young woman in the spiritual realm, she called upon the man whom she had loved all her life, and he came to her deathbed, and she died physically in his arms. Amália Domingos Soler, as a medium in the 19th century Spain, was intrigued by the case, and she decided to consult with her spirit mentor, asking as to why the mother was so strongly against the relationship that her son wanted to have with the young lady whom she disliked. The spirit mentors explained that in the previous life, the mother was a man, and the mother, as a man in a previous life, had been his love. So now, reincarnated in the body of a woman, she agreed to accept as her son the very man who had separated his love from him, meaning the mother was not able to forgive the very spirit who in a previous life separated him. So the mother, even though she was now in the body of a woman in a completely different scenario, that spirit could not forgive. And that spirit repeated the suffering that he had gone through in a previous life to his own son. So, as we reflect upon this, dear friends, we see that the illuminated minds are very wise when they say to Kardec that when a mother dislikes her son or her daughter, she will create hindrances to that spirit, despite the biological ties, despite the plans of the on high, if she is not very evolved as a spirit. So whether a mother has an children or not signals her level of spiritual advancement. A spirit who is highly evolved is able to forgive and let go and begin anew with a new reincarnation. A spirit who is less evolved, like in the case described by Amália Domingo Soler in 19th century Spain, is very likely to repeat the painful patterns of the past. So, mothers who have aversions for their children deserve spiritual, psychological support because they are here, as are all of us, to learn to surpass, overcome the emotional mountains, obstacles that our conditionings from previous lives have created, that we ourselves have fashioned inside of our hearts. Since the mountains of ill resolved emotions were nurtured by our very selves, our very choices, feelings, and thoughts from the past, this reincarnation, as with every new reincarnation, is an opportunity to undo, to let go of the emotional, spiritual charge of this previous life's traumas. So, mothers who have not been able to forgive their children are still suffering from emotional traumas from the past. And if the children are on the receiving end of because very likely they are the ones who created the emotional traumas on the mother herself, like in the case reported by Amália Domingo Soler. So we conclude, beloved friends, that as hard as it may seem, there are no victims. If a child receives aversion from her mother, it is herself planted that seed in the mother's heart. So we also learn that is up both to the mother and the daughter or son, the child, to make the effort to forgive by understanding that What the mother as a spirit is doing is not personal, since she is blind emotional trauma. So let us pray, dear friends, on behalf of all mothers who are suffering from previous lives' traumas. And let us pray so that both mothers and their children learn to love one another. For we are on earth to transform emotional traumas, emotional spiritual traumas. And how transformations, depending on the angle through which we look at the situation. Like in a cell phone, we have cameras. Whatever we point the camera to angles our vision. So instead of pointing the camera solely to our point of view, we can point the camera to the other person's point of view and understand that if we lack, the trauma was probably generated by us. We probably had great participation in it. The mother who hurt us probably had a legion of spirit obsessors with her that probably also were connected to us from previous lives. So if we take the camera of our minds as immortal spirits, the angles, so as not to only point towards ourselves, we can heal and help others to heal as well by expanding our understanding. So, this is the exercise for us tonight. And exceptionally, let us pray together intentionally, dear friends, on behalf of all mothers and their emotional trauma. So we thank you, dear Lord of life, for granting us such beautiful piece of wisdom that helps us to resignify the roles of our parents in our lives, that help us see one another beyond biological ties as spirits who have asked to be together in order to evolve. Let us bless those spirits who served as gateways for our very own reincarnation. Let us pray for them to receive a shower of gratitude from us. Let us pray for all mothers and fathers who are now at this very moment allowing for the reincarnation of spirits who need to enroll in the school of earth. For the mothers who decide to interrupt their pregnancy, let us pray that they are all enveloped in divine light and love, coming from the very heart of Mother Mary. Let us pray for all children who are orphans of living parents. Let us pray for those in refugee camps, in those in orphanages, those imprisoned by guilt and shame. Let us pray for those who feel forsaken, for those who feel victimized. Let us pray visualizing Mother Mary, enveloping all mothers, fathers, and their children on the earth in the most sublime divine light, looking at them with the same divine love, which let us all feel her embrace, and with much gratitude to God, Master Jesus, and our Divine Mother, we ask for permission to end our studies tonight. And so be it. Thank you, dear friends, for the opportunity of nourishing our souls together. We already look forward to seeing you again next week for one more Divine Love. Meantime, stay tuned right here on Kardec Radio because here we are always nourishing our souls. Bye for now, dear friends. We wish you many blessings.